Grand Rising, Guardians of the New Earth. How's everyone doing out there? This is my 80th live on YouTube. I'm so excited. And the reason I decided to go on live today, for those that couldn't get to the Rumble channel, I had some complaints that a few of you guys couldn't find the link to last night's Rumble uncensored. Oh, and by the way, that was a 2 hour talk where I was able to discuss things without using code names, without trying to sugarcoat things or be incognito. I was just straight letting you guys know the truth, right? About, the people that are psychopaths and much more, of course. And not to mention, when I did talk about some of these people that were on the flight list, it really, really saddened me to know that George Lucas was on there. But anyway, there's going to be more to come. I'm sure that the list is at least, I don't know, it has like maybe 300 people on it. I mean, I only mentioned about 80, but maybe I shouldn't even use the word LIST on this channel. I have to go back to using code words and really monitor myself now that I'm back on, this channel. So I just want to welcome everyone that's out here. You guys are awesome. Thank you for spending your Saturday night with me. This is, again, the reason I decided to go live tonight was to give everybody an opportunity to be here with me tonight, because last night, I'm sure it was very difficult for some of you guys to find the Rumble link. But I think due to the fact that there are certain things that I do like to share that I cannot share on this channel, I am probably going to be sharing it on my Rumble channel. So if you guys could go ahead and subscribe to my Rumble channel once a week, I'm going to be dropping some information uncensored, okay? Uncensored. So make sure you guys subscribe to my Rumble channel. And also, I would like to mention that I am collaborating with Christine from, the Wonder Twins show. She has a new channel, and we're going to be actually doing a double live next Friday. So shout out to Kristen out there from Arcana Shores. She's going to actually be using her tarot cards to answer some of our questions and answer some of my questions regarding, if whether or not 45 is coming back soon or by November, which I think it's sooner than November, if whether or not we're going to have the great solar flash this year, right? A lot of you guys are wondering, right? We're anticipating this momentous event that everybody knows as the Great Solar Flash. And number three, of course, we're going to find out the truth about things that I've been, talking about how Enki is the bad guy, right? I'm probably one of the few in the disclosure community that is really just telling it how it is, right? We're not going to bow down to no Anunnaki. I don't care what, secret he has or what he did in the past. We're not going to bow down to no alien. I'll tell you that right now, okay? We are our own saviors. Now, this perfectly dovetails this concept of the idea of worshiping a God outside of ourselves, perfectly dovetails with the concept of tonight as to why I personally believe that there is a huge decline in organized religion. All right. It seems that a lot of the earth humans, a lot of the earth based ascending earth terrans are actually snapping out of their hypnosis. All right. And based on my vast research, guys, and one of the reasons why I never really aligned with organized religion was because of the fact that that the original, if you want to trace the roots of organized religion, it goes back to ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Sumeria, ancient Babylonia. And guess who guess who created the religions that everybody is a part of these days? Not everybody, but those that follow organized religion. The fallen Anunnaki, the Nephilim, and their children, of course. Okay, so the fallen Anunnaki were the originators, were really just the ones that established the first organized religions in ancient Babylonia. So we could actually trace all organized religions, beginning with the mother harlot of them all, right? The second Babylon, the whore of the earth. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about, right? The Vatican, right? Rome. All roads lead to Rome when it comes to the heartbeat of the cabal. So when you trace the origins of the whore of the earth. And by the way, a lot of these fundamentalist Christian religions, whether they're, you call them Baptists, whether you call them Presbyterians, Orthodox, and so on and so forth. I think there's over 77 or even over 80 sects and groupings of these, some are called non-denominational Pentecostals and some are called denominationals. But the whole point is that there are so many Christian organizations that actually sprung. They were extensions that grew out of the 15th century Reformation. All right. Now, this is not to negate that Martin Luther was not a good guy, because Martin Luther was there to thwart the Vatican from absolutely taking absolute control of the world during the Dark Ages. So he did fulfill his mission in getting us out of that, tyranny. But at the same time, we do know that the Jesuits, right? The Jesuits who have been running the show for the last 500 years, of course, now the power has been transferred over to big tech. But we do know that the Jesuits are always infiltrating everything. So all of the organized religions actually stemmed from the Roman Catholic Church, which is pretty much you could say, in terms of an octopus, where you have all these different tentacles, right? You have the Lutherans, you have the Calvinists, you have the Seventh-day Adventist, you have the Jehovah's Witness. And if whether or not people say the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons are not Christian, to an extent they are, very, very surface level, they are fundamentalists. But at a deeper level, of course, I would have to admit that the Mormon religion is the only one that deviates from all the other extensions of the Roman Catholic Church. But what I was going to say is that based on my research, the Roman Catholic Church, which is the foundation of all Christian organized religions, received you could say all of their teachings, the Eucharist, the first and second, the first communion, the second communion, what else? Confirmation. All those traditions that come out of the Catholic Church could actually be traceable back to Babylon. It all originated with Babylon. And guess who was the god of Babylon? Nimrod's father, no other than Marduk. Marduk, Belial, Baal, the son of Enki, okay, who was the Anunnaki, who consolidated all the many gods into the one God. All right. He even called himself Amen-Ra. All right, he hijacked the original term Ra, which means the sun god, to pose as the only god of all religions. And then, of course, the Jews called him Yahweh. Okay, so it was never Enlil, it was Marduk who consolidated the concept of the many gods into the one God and decided to call himself supreme ruler of the earth. And this happened as a result of what? Of him taking over the Iberian Council, right? He brew an army of clones on the deserted planet Mars to overthrow the title of the 50, which was then held by who? By Enlil-Sus Jehovah, or whatever you want to call him, who comes from the line of the Elion lineage of the original Elohim, traceable back to Sirius Lyra, Anuhasi, to then overthrow in order to take over the affairs of the earth. So that's why Marduk is the one who was the god that was killing everybody in the name of God. When you read in the Old Testament, how there was this, warring god who wanted to consolidate world power. Well, he was Marduk, all right? Marduk had many names, but when Marduk took over the affairs of the earth, he was at the head of the newfound organized religion that later became known as the Catholic Church. So now I want to point out the difference between organized religion, because I am sure that a lot of you guys here, maybe not a lot, maybe some of you guys were born awakened. Sorry, I don't want to use the word awakened, right? Just like myself. And you just never resonated with religion. But I'm sure that there is a few of you who were forced to go to church, who probably were even part of an organized religion. I had one person that said, hey, I left the Jehovah's Witness cult, several years ago when I woke up to my divinity. Well, that is happening on a larger scale, all right? Especially as we approach critical mass. People of planet Earth are no longer buying the religion the religious crap. And you guys want to know why? Because of the fact that the Anunnaki that used to rule our world are no longer in power. The Anunnaki, the Luciferian Anunnaki, those that come from Enki, right? The Igigi, the Nephilim, those have been overthrown by the Earth Alliance and the Galactic Alliance in the last decade. They have been overturned. Okay, so the Anunnaki that used to control this world, that was at the head of all organized religion, is no longer in power. So there is a distinction between, of course, religion and spirituality. Now, this is an article that perfectly describes what organized religion is. Religion commonly refers to an institution that has a set of organized practices and a structured belief system shared by and among those who are members of the institution. Okay, that is the first fallacy in organization or in organized religion, is a set rules of principles in which the people that are part of that organization have to religiously follow, or they get excommunicated. All right, that is the first red flag, if you ask me. Okay, secondly, their beliefs, which are often transcendental, are passed on from members to converts and are based on either a formally documented creed or established culture or practices. What does that mean? All right, well, whether you are familiarized with the Judeo-Christian tradition, which, by the way, evolved out of the old Babylonian tradition, right? As well as they believe that some of the Christian principles within Christianity actually evolved out of Zoroastrianism. The original Yeshua, according to the Gnostic teachings, was no other than Ahura Mazda. And who did Ahura Mazda's enemy? Who did Ahura Mazda fight? Who was the main enemy in the story of Ahura Mazda, who was representing the Christ in ancient times, right? No other than what? Ahriman, the king of the archons, who today is manifesting himself in the form of artificial intelligence. Again, we are expecting the incarnation of the Ahriman in the form of the Antichrist, as revealed in those ancient documents. So, another thing to understand is that in either case, there are professionals within each religion who act in positions of leadership and who represent formal aspects of the institution. The leaders often carry out certain rituals regarding the core beliefs of the religion, which lay the foundation for how one's life should be lived. And I see this over and over again, okay? If religion was so spiritual, if they were so much in service to others, which is really what spirituality is about, right? Then why are most of their members still living in poverty? Why is it that every organized religion has a set hierarchy where the top clergyman, whether you call them pastors, bishops, priests, whatever you call them, why are they living lavishly while the majority of the congregation is struggling on a daily basis? Again, this whole idea of having an organized religion, nowadays anybody could open up their own institution and call themselves, the non-denominational church of whatever. All right. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of people in the unawakened community are becoming pastors, because it's an easy way to make millions of dollars, right? What is one of the tenets that religion imposes? That you have to pay the 10%, right? And that's another deception, that you have to give 10% of your earnings to whatever organization you are a part of. So that is a quick way to get rich for some of these people that become pastors, that all of a sudden open up their own congregations. They call it the Church of Christ, and they required 10 to 15% of whatever their members' earnings are, right? It's called tithing. All right, that's another principle or another concept that it doesn't resonate with me. All right, when all this money is being taken from the congregations to what? To create more churches, to live in a better house, to buy more cars. Again, these pastors are not spiritual. They're taking advantage of their congregation. They're using that money in order to spend it on themselves, pretty much, right? Okay. And I've seen that a lot. Growing up, I've been very observant when it came to seeing how these pastors are with their money. All right. So as a community or group sharing the same beliefs, religion functions as an extremely supportive social network. Well, to an extent, yes, I do admit that sometimes organized religions provides an environment where like-minded individuals who believe in those concepts, right, who are embedded in that dogma, could come together and freely talk about what they want to talk about, but as long as they stay within that dogmatic structure of limited belief systems. Okay, the moment they start questioning their dogma, guess what? All of a sudden, they exclude you from their group. Okay, and I've noticed this a lot when it comes to Jehovah's Witness, Latter-day Saints, and other, modern religions. So it creates practical implications for everyday behaviors in adherence to the beliefs, rituals, and practices of the group. Members of a religion often also follow distinctive dress codes, especially religious leaders, moral codes, and actions that are mandated by a supernatural being. Okay, again, if religious people only knew that at the pinnacle of their religion is an extraterrestrial known as Marduk. See, the Anunnaki, the fallen Anunnaki, the Luciferian Anunnaki, who unfortunately took over the affairs of our world 15,000 years ago, when they infiltrated us 50,000 years ago, right? They are the reasons why Atlantis fell and ushered in the Dark Ages. If people only knew that at the pinnacle of organized religion, they are worshiping aliens. That's who they're worshiping. All right. There is a huge difference between the God that every religion organization preaches about and the one infinite creator, which knows no difference, which sets no rules, which sets no limitations, but is all pure unconditional love. There is a huge difference, guys. So members of a religion often follow distinct. Okay, I've already read that. A religious person is committed to following the guidelines set by his or her religion, or he or she observes the rites and practices such as regularly attending church services on Sunday for Christians, observing the Sabbath for Jews, and fasting during the Ramadan for Muslims. Okay, and there is no distinction, by the way, between the Muslims, the Christians, and there are many splitters, right? There are many offshoots, and the Jewish religion. They are all coming from one tradition. Okay, now the Eastern religions are slightly a little different than the Western religions. All right, I tend to lean more with the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, and of course the original teachings of the Hinduism, which incorporated a lot of spirituality regarding the chakra systems, the different levels of consciousness. Now, the reason the Eastern religions were not as corrupted as the Western religions is because this cabal took over from Babylon. It went to Europe. So we could say that Europe, for the last over 2,000 years, has been the epicenter of this cabal. Okay, and that's the reason why Western organized religions have been more lean towards Luciferianism when it really comes to it, right? They are, factions of division, keeping everybody divided so that the elites could just make more money, right? As opposed to what? The Eastern teachings of the Ascended Masters, of the Buddhist tradition, of Hinduism, all right? But there is a distinction, don't get me wrong. You have the open interpretation, exoteric, fundamentalist, you could say traditions, even within Hinduism, where they have to follow, again, just like organized religion, they have to follow a set of rules and principles. Otherwise, they get miscommunicated or excommunicated if they don't. And that goes the same for the other splinters. But I don't see that happening in Buddhism. I think Buddhism is closer to spirituality than it is a religion. But don't get me wrong. There are some Buddhists. Unfortunately, there are some Buddhist fundamentalists who believe in the same concepts that some of these Western religions believe. And that is, if you don't believe what I believe in, you're not going to go to nirvana, right? That's their interpretation of heaven. So, all right. So that is what religion is. It's a dogmatic structured, or it is an organization embedded in within a set of rules and principles, commonly referred to as a dogmatic structure. Okay, it's very dogmatic, very inclusive only, right? If you don't believe what we believe in, then you have to, then you're going to go to hell. And that's one of the other reasons why I never agreed with religion, is the idea that they sold their members, or at least they manipulated their members into believing in their dogma, right? Because of the fact that they were telling them that if they don't believe in that, they're going to go to hell. Okay, so that's another tool that religion has used to gain a following. You're going to go to hell if you don't follow our teachings. You're going to go to hell if you don't accept, Jesus as your savior. You're going to go to hell if you don't accept Allah as your savior. Again, that is part of the cabal's way to keep us divided so that we could be fighting one another. And when you really think about it, most of the wars within the last 20 years, they have been fought because of these religious differences, because of these different teachings when it comes to the dogma, right? That's the reason why most of the wars have been fought in the last 2,000 years. Killing in the name of God. Don't you guys remember listening to Rage Against the Machines? Shout out to Rage Against the Machines. I used to love that band. Killing in the name of killing in the name of. Now you do what they told you. Rage Against the Machines. I used to love their music, by the way. But yeah, that's the whole point, is that a lot of these organized religions throughout history have been warring each other because of these differences in dogmatic belief structures. Okay, so what is spirituality? What is spirituality? Spirituality is about one's soul and inner self, all right? It is already taking the concept of God or the idea of fear. You have to, if you don't follow what we teach, you're going to go to hell. So it already neutralizes the idea of fear, right? Or it gives you the opportunity to experience life so that you could make your own choices. And that's how we evolve, through our experience, all right? So spirituality is all about going within yourself. That's what spirituality is, as opposed to religion. This is why a lot of people are waking up, and this is why a lot of people are leaving their organized religion. There is a huge decline in organized religion. So it's about spirituality involves one's personal set of beliefs and practices in searching for purpose in life, okay? And that is something that happens when we go within ourselves, right? When we all of a sudden decide to really explore inner space, right? And introspect, right? That's when we begin to understand who we are, right? We begin to discover, we begin to become self-realized, which are spiritual principles, by the way. Socrates himself used to say, know thyself. That is the beginning of cultivating a spiritual life, is knowing who you are within this, suit of meat and flesh. So each person's own definition of spirituality can vary throughout their lifetime, adapting to individual experiences through personal study and self-reflection. The goal of spirituality is to realize one's inherent power to combat all life's challenges and connect with something greater than thyself. And let me remind you guys, there is no challenge, there is no obstacle that we cannot overcome. Everything that we go through in life, whether good or bad, is designed by our higher selves so that we could grow spiritually. That's how we evolve, all right? So spirituality is a universal, personalized experience. And everyone has that unique experience. Everyone's experience in spirituality is going to be different than everyone else's, okay? Because we are all our own individual expressions of the one. So, of course, your experience is going to be different than my experience. Your awakening was triggered by circumstances that were different than my awakening. And so that's why we can't be judging. We can't be trying to become, better than anyone else, because no one is better than anyone else, right? We're all equal, right? We're all equal. We're all different fragments of the one. Therefore, we're all equal. So we have to accept that everybody's experience is going to be different when it comes to spiritual evolution. So one may describe a spiritual experience as being sacred or transcendent, or plainly a true sense of liveliness and feeling interconnected or pure. All right. That is so true, right? All of a sudden, we have this great awakening, right? That is the first step in stepping out of the matrix, because we do know that all organized religion is part of the program, right? So when we leave organized religion as a result of discovering who we really are, we begin to step out of the matrix. And that is the first step into our liberation, into our sovereignty, right? Where we no longer, uphold some sort of dogmatic belief structure, right? And we begin to cultivate our own understanding of what the divine is. In fact, some may find that their spirituality is closely linked to a religion, while others may have their own personal relationship with a higher power. Others seek the meaning of life through their connection to nature and art. That's another way of expressing your divinity. Musicians, artists, painters, right? When you're playing the piano, when you're drawing that picture, that is God working through you. That is the beauty of spirituality, right? You don't have to go to a building to worship or to express yourself spiritually. You could express yourself spiritually in the privacy of your home. When you go for a walk in nature, when you go see a beautiful sunset, right? That is spirituality. You're witnessing the beauty of nature, which is divine, right? Okay. So when it comes to religion versus spirituality, debates neither is inherently good or bad. Spirituality is broader and more abstract than religion. Religion maintains a definite or a defined, tangible codes of ethics, while spirituality is largely undefinable, with no limits, right? In spirituality, you are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to choose, whatever it is that you want to choose in life, because ultimately it's all designed for your greater growth. Even if you take the path of say you take the wrong path or you make the wrong mistakes, and as a result of that, there's something negative that happens in your life. Well, that needed to happen to get you right back on the right path, right? So there are no mistakes in life. Everything happens for a reason. Okay, so when it comes to, so let's see. However, both of these methods of believing in something help people live happy, meaningful lives. Okay, I do believe in God, guys. But my definition of God is totally different than what religion says. Okay, to me, God is personal, but at the same time, it is subjective. All right, because each and every single one of you have your own experience of what God is, and I honor that. And that's what's going to allow people to live in a community where they are living in cooperation and in harmony, all right, which is tolerance. And that's where we're heading, all right. In fact, a lot of the advanced extraterrestrial races are already living like that. They don't have organized religion, right? They all cultivate a personal understanding of the divine. And they do live in a type of community where each and every single person contributes to the greater whole. And that's where we're heading, right? We are evolving. Things are about to speed up like never before on this planet as this download or this data dump occurs, this huge revelation to humanity. So one last thing, I do want to also go over this other article that clearly defines the differences. 4 differences between spirituality and religion. And then I'm going to take some questions and answers. I want to welcome all 500 and is it 85 people that are in the house? Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so number 1, spirituality is a solitary experience of the divine, while religion involves a group of people brought together by their common faith or belief about the divine. Religion aims to build one's character. It shapes one's beliefs, attitudes, and actions by giving importance to the adherence of rules. To me, that sounds very draconian, very tyrannical, right? We're moving into the age of no government, of self-government. So religion is part of that. That idea or that concept of what? Being part of the herd, right? Following the group mind as laid down by somebody else. So apparently this unites people who are part of the herd mind, who share a religion as they share character traits and outlooks on life. Okay, so in that sense, for the evolving Earth terror, it does provide a safe haven to to build community. On the other hand, spirituality concentrates more on each person's individual soul, and that is a fact, my friends. There are many religions in our world, and one thing most have in common is that they preach the idea that their story is the right one. And this is where I believe, why I believe that all organized religion is controlled by Marduk, Satan, whatever you want to call it. However, when someone is spiritual, they are able to pick out the things they believe from any religion and combine them, these truths, to formulate their own set of beliefs, right? Freedom to choose to believe in whatever we want to believe in, all right? Without being threatened that we're going to go to hell if we don't. So when asking the question, can you be spiritual and religious? I believe in some cases you can. Think about it, all right? Every organized religion, including the Catholic Church, has real mystics in it, real saints, people that are actually living a service to others lifestyle. So that is an example of how you could also be religious and spiritual at the same time. However, the greatest majority of people that are so-called religious are doing the opposite of what their religion teaches. They're hypocrites, and we see this all the time. Okay. So yes, you could be both, but that's only for a few. For those that have decided to become, spiritual while adhering to a certain beliefs or to a certain faith, and those are the people that are living their life like Joshua, like the Buddha, and they are within these religions. So I have nothing against those people, but we do see a lot of hypocrisy within this organized religious community at the same time. Right? A lot of people that go to church every Sunday, and then the next day they're out at a bar, drinking or doing drugs or paying for prostitution. We see this type of behavior happening all the time. Okay. So spirituality focuses more on the qualities of the messages that is being offered than the differences in the details of the original story. For example, while Christians may focus on the story of Moses and the Ten Commandments in detail, someone who is spiritual may take away some broader messages from the story, such as being grateful for the things in one's life or always being honest. So going back to the concept of being spiritual and religious, again, only a few are like that. The majority of the religious people have no spirituality in their bones. However, many who are spiritual believe that everyone's ultimate truth is the same, right? That is another difference, right? People that are truly genuine spiritual, living the life as if Jesus would be in their consciousness. They don't judge others. They don't condemn others. They don't impose their will upon others. No, they don't. They see the God in everything, in every living thing. All right. So that is another difference. People that are in the spiritual path are more likely to be Buddha-like, to be Christ-like, right, than those that are in organized religions. However, while one's spiritual beliefs are typically unique, spirituality often enforces the idea that all people are the same. The world has no parameters, races, or cultural partitions. Humanity is all one, with love being at the core. And that, my friends, is so correct, right? When people are spiritual, they see the common denominator that binds all the faiths together, and that is what? Unconditional love. Unconditional love. I will get to the super chats in just a few more minutes. This understanding, or am I? Okay, so the world has no parameters, races, or cultural partitions. Humanity is all one. According to spirituality, we don't see differences in cultures. We don't see race, color. We see everyone as brothers and sisters, okay? And that's where we need to cultivate our mentality, by the way. We have to love people for who they are, even our enemies, guys, even our enemies, all right? Let's always be the better person. So, despite any possible ideological differences, all humans are the same consciousness. They are just expressed in different ways according to spirituality. Because every human essence is the same. It means that any differences are superficial. This understanding invites people to be inspired to embrace each other and support each other on the path to enlightenment together. Okay, so the next thing, progression of faiths. All right. A spiritual person's set of beliefs involves as they learn more through their personal study of their own spirituality. Alternatively, in religion, the belief system is usually predefined. So how can we grow if we're not allowed to make choices for ourselves? If we're not allowed to experience, all right? Organized religion does not allow that. Okay, so the recognized authorities of the religious group reinforce or communicate changes regarding the ideologies for members of the religious group to follow. In this way, religion requires people to be obedient with their beliefs, keeping them fixed to a set of scriptures, right? Or in this case, if you're going to a university or college, you have to accept with no question what comes out of those textbooks, right? That's one of the reasons why I would always argue with my professors, because I used to always question the texts. I used to always question the textbooks. It would have been fun to attend class with me in college, by the way, guys. I was always raising my hand and questioning everything, including the laws of physics. Oh my God, my philosophy professor almost had a cow when I was telling him that the laws of physics are flawed, that they only apply to a third dimensional construct, and that there's other dimensions. He looked at me like I was crazy. And I even told him, the laws of physics, all they are a set of rules and principles that have been accepted by a community of scientists, just like dogmatic religion, right? Think about it. The Council of Nicaea, the Roman Catholic Church, all right? All these archbishops under the order of Constantine, who was the first pope, came together to say what is right and what is wrong. And that's how the Catholic Church was born. It was a unanimous decision between these bishops, overseen by Constantine himself, who, by the way, killed his own mother, I believe. That guy was a tyrant. But anyways, so in this way, religion requires people to be obedient with their beliefs, keeping them fixed to scriptures or what is taught to them by religious leaders. Religion often discourages people from listening to their own instincts and instead teaches people to accept and do what they're told without questioning it. To me, that sounds like a dictatorship, right? Okay, child praying. Okay, religious. Oh, this is another thing that will be disclosed or revealed when it comes to these people that are at the top of the religious organizations. A lot of them are pedos. I don't want to say the full word. Okay, not on this channel. But on the other hand, spirituality. Okay, so on the other hand, spirituality teaches people to constantly listen to their inner voice and use it as a guide to live a good life. Spirituality urges people to break free from obedience or conformity in order to create their own path and journey in life. Because of this, someone who practices spirituality may continually change their beliefs throughout their life. Nothing is set in stone, so what one may find to be right or wrong today may change down the line with new life experiences. And that is true. That is part of the evolution of our consciousness. What we believe today could totally be changed a year from now. And that is okay. That's part of being spiritual, right? Because we're always constantly learning. A spiritual person often arrives at their own truths while they are developing their spirituality, rather than following an ideology or set of rules. The experience is often personal and occurs in private, allowing people to follow their own their own intuition, and to do the things that they are in their own best interests. Some spiritual traditions offer theories and practices to help people on their journeys. They are not meant to be adopted as a set of beliefs like religion. Rather, they're offered as tools for spiritual seekers to use to help their spiritual growth. On the other hand, a religious person accepts the truth as defined by his or her religion, and these truths are often documented and shared with others. In religion, there is often a promise or punishment or reward for maintaining beliefs or following rituals. But for spirituality, the reward is just one's own inner peace. It's beautiful, perfectly stated. The fear of punishment for one's action is often a principal factor in religion. Those practicing religion fear the consequences of the way they live their lives after they die. That is true. Why do you think so many people fear death? Because of what they learned from their religion. Often people believe that if they do not live their lives according to the religions, they will go to hell. However, spirituality encourages people to focus their energy on positive things and to act based solely on love. That is so true. When someone is spiritual, they do what they feel is right in their heart, despite any potential consequences. While spirituality does not threaten punishment for a life lived in contrast to a set of rules, it often addresses karma. It is a principle of cause and effect where one's actions or intentions have a direct impact on their future. This means that one who lives with good intentions and practices good deeds will experience happiness in the future. That is a given, right? Whatever you do comes back to you. That is one of the hermetic principles in spirituality, the law of return. Whatever you exert comes back to you tenfold, all right? And we even learn this if you study even within the Wiccan cultures. By the way, Wicca is also a religion, even though it's earth-based religion, right? Every spiritual organization talks about the law of return, right? The law that says that whatever you give out comes back to you tenfold. And that is so true. Okay, so when wondering, am I religious or spiritual? Think about whose rules you follow. Do you rely on the rituals of a certain church to carry you through times when your faith begins to wane? Do you count on an institution to organize your beliefs for you, or do you pick and choose what you want to believe? These are important questions to consider when you are trying to determine if you are religious or spiritual. I'm almost done. 3 more paragraphs, and I'll take some questions beginning with the super chat. So organize the origination of belief. Spiritual people often learn and develop their beliefs through their own experience, often through trial and error. That's how we learn, through mistakes. I couldn't disagree with this. This empowers people to discover their own truths without setting any limits as to the depth of one's understanding. Alternatively, a religious individual learns or develops their beliefs based on the experience they are told about their religious founders or through their practices. Spirituality encourages people to create their own path, which allows people to take their own journey of enlightenment. With spirituality, self-discovery has no boundaries. It inspires people to trust their hearts, right? It all goes down to the heart when it comes to spirituality, right? The heart is the mind. It's got neurites, right? Its own, neurons. The heart is a bigger mind than the brain, and that's been proven through neuroscience. Spirituality is simply one's ability to recognize that every person is more than just a human body, that they are a soul that has unlimited potential. Every person is essentially a small God, a unique and powerful manifestation of existence that serves a purpose in this world. Every single one of you guys here, even those that watch this on the replay, has a divine purpose to fulfill. You are as equally important to everyone else, all right? Let's see, where else? So people who are spiritual are able to adjust to new conditions and their discoveries throughout life. Spiritual people learn and develop their beliefs based on their own experiences, while religious people learned it based on other experiences. They are not told about their religious founders, of course. So what is the difference between a spiritual person and a religious person? A spiritual person looks within themselves to do the right thing, and a religious person looks to the outside for guidance. And that is so true, right? That's why a lot of Catholic people, they go and confess their sins to the bishop or to the priest, right? Because they're looking for guidance outside of themselves. But we also find this within the alien community or the disclosure community, right? A lot of people are, instead of going within themselves, they're relying on others to relate to them the information regarding the extraterrestrial phenomena. It goes the same way. You have to go within yourself. Okay, so what is the difference? Okay, I've already read that. People who are spiritual and are able to adjust to new conditions and their discoveries throughout life. They are flexible in their beliefs. A major difference between religion and spirituality is believing versus being. That's a good one, right? Let me read that again. A major difference between religion and spirituality is believing versus being. Okay. Beliefs and how those, where am I? Oh, yeah. Religion emphasizes the content of followers' beliefs and how those beliefs play out in their everyday lives. On the other hand, the focus of spirituality is on the process of becoming attuned to one's inner self, which is the soul extension of God that is housed by your temple, which is your human avatar. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the super chat. I'm going to take some questions. I'm going to start with the super chat, and then I'm just going to answer random questions as I go through the chat. Am I locked out of my phone? There we go. So I'm going to start with the super chat, and then I'm going to go ahead and just answer random questions. So I want to thank Shazam. Thank you so much for the super chat and for being here, Shazam. Shout out to Shazam. All right. Let me see. I also want to thank Divine. Here, let me put my glasses on so I could see. Divine, oh, I'm sorry, Diane Molina, thank you so much for your super chat. And she says, when will you share your message on Rumble? When will you share? Which message are you talking about, Diane? I did go on Rumble last night, and the link is in the description of yesterday's live. So you could actually access the link. For those that haven't seen my Rumble live from last night, the link is actually in the description of yesterday's live. From YouTube, you could actually access it. And I'm probably going to go on again in a week. But again, I've been transmitting information from the felines of Lyra. Important information that I haven't been able to share until now. They told me you guys were ready to understand this next level intel. So I'm still working on bringing that information together. So that's going to be mind blowing, by the way. Vanessa Ann, thank you so much for your super chat. And Vanessa's question is, my birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Vanessa. Well, happy early birthday. But, if you watch this on the replay, happy birthday. If it's tomorrow, happy birthday. Happy birthday. And for the next 20 years, I shall be unstoppable. Absolutely, sister. You are unlimited, right? Unstoppable is your wish. Well, that's all of our wishes, to step into our divinity and become unlimited, to reach and access infinite intelligence, to have unconditional love, and to live pretty much freely, both consciously and spiritually and physically. Okay. So thank you for sharing that, sister. And I appreciate your super chat. I send you the best. Oh, thank you. The best, dear Ishmael. You're welcome, sister. I also want to wish you a beautiful birthday tomorrow. And I hope you have an awesome day tomorrow, okay? I hope you have an awesome day. Do something for yourself, sister. Go get pampered. Go get a massage. Go do some yoga. Go ground. Spend some time with nature. All right? Mother Earth is conscious. It's very important, guys, to already establish a relationship with the planet at this time, because the planet is going through a purification process. I also wanted to thank Deborah Battingfield for her super chat. And her question is, hi, Ishmael, will the Amish community ascend to 5D? Let me see. The Amish are those that are not partaking in technology, right? They do everything the old way. They don't believe in technology. Everyone, whether you are Amish, whether you are Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, non-denominational, spiritual, whatever you believe in. As long as you're a good person, you are going to ascend into the new earth. Okay, in the new earth, we're not going to have religions. Only the good people, only people that are generally good are going to be able to make the transition. So if people in the Amish community are really good people, they have a good heart, of course they're going to make the transition, you know. And then the second part of your question is, they believe in the old ways, no electricity, no vehicles, just wondering. Thank you. Yes, I am familiarized with their beliefs. In fact, I was in Kentucky about 5, 6 years ago working on a project, and I did run into some Amish people, and it was just fascinating how, they're still living like in the 18th century, right? They're still riding their horse and their buggies, their horse chariots, whatever you call them, their horse bugs. They don't really use cars. They don't have cell phones, guys. These guys don't even use phones. I was actually impressed. I was impressed by them. I also wanted to thank Shazam for the super chat. And okay, so now I'm going to start in the bottom. Another super chat came in. Thank you from Edward Kasarjian. Hey, Edward, how's it going? So your question is, okay, so Edward has a question. Let me go ahead and get to that. So is September 11th Jesus' birthday, or April 1st? I believe it was in April. I just don't know the date. But according to the ancient knowledge, not the modified religious texts, Jesus was born in the spring, and that is a fact. Okay, so what are the significance of these dates? Can you explain? Well, we do know, I don't know if September 11 has any significance. Every day is important, but what I do know is that the real new year, right? The beginning of a 365-day cycle actually begins in spring. It doesn't begin in January 1st. It begins the 1st of April. April Fools. April Fools should have been the new year, okay? Let's see. And thank you for all you do, my spirit brother. Oh, you are so welcome, Edward. You are so welcome. It is an honor to be here at this time with you guys. I'm so thrilled and excited. I'm always eager to go live, by the way. Despite all the work that I do throughout the day, I can't wait, and I anticipate every time I go live. This is like, to me, it's like me being in my happy zone whenever I'm interacting with you guys, and I love it. My phone didn't break, thank God. All right, let me see. Guess I could read some of the questions here from the laptop. The questions are going too fast. All right, so Mary Jane G is asking me if I work with my energy. I do. I practice grounding every morning, shielding, because, all of us are under attack, by the way, whether we know it or not, guys. Shield yourself. Learn how to protect yourself from these negative archon entities. We're still at war with AI. Remember that. Even though in a future text, we've already won that war. Remember, we're still here in the third dimension, seeing things in a linear fashion. But in actuality, because all time is happening simultaneously, we do win that war at the end of the millennium. But yes, I do work with my energy. I do multiple things, I'm not going to pretty much reveal what I do, but I am also a grid facilitator of harnessing the energy of the galactic central sun into this planet. I am a person who likes to use my chakras and my light bodies to bring in and integrate that energy from the galactic core with Mother Earth, among other things that I do. But yes, I do work with energy a lot. I also work with the elementals, by the way. I'm very, very attuned to the earth energies, Mother Earth. Here we have another super chat from Gina Smith. Thank you so much for being here, Gina. Hi, Ishmael. Thank you for all you do. What can I do to help move into the transition? Well, to help facilitate a smooth transition when the solar flash takes place, it's best to do the inner work. If you have any emotional trauma or anything, if you haven't yet forgiven anyone for something that they did to you in your past, whether you remember or not, just go ahead and feel it and then transmute it. The best thing to do, guys, is to have a clear system, right? By doing the inner work, learning how to integrate your shadow, tame your shadow, right? Your ego. All right, so Carla Lulick is asking, are there good Anunnakis? What is a implant on an individual person? Are there good Anunnakis? Absolutely. What is a implant as an individual person? Okay, so to answer your question, Carla Lulick, thank you for being here. There is duality in everything, right? Just how we have negative ETs, we have positive ETs, right? So in terms of the Anunnaki, we do have a faction that was part of the Council of Guardians in ancient times. Never were they interested in dominating us, but protecting us. And we read a lot about this in the Greek translations. So the good Anunnaki were Zeus, Athena, who was in charge and held the balance of justice, Aphrodite, Apollo. Apollo was also very benevolent. You know, these are the children that are associated with the lineage of Zeus. So it turns out that the Greeks' translation of Zeus was Enlil, not Enki. I almost said Enki, Enlil. All right. And that is the reason why a lot of these people who really, you know, take the Sumerian tablet translation by Zechariah Sitchin face value without questioning. That's why they believe that Enlil was the bad guy, when in essence he was the protector of the divine human on earth. And something I'm going to be revealing in my next book is how Enki defiled the council when, you know, again, he took a gene of the already existing Atlantean, which was a 12-strand DNA Terranusian, in order to downgrade its genetics in order to control them and create a slave race. So yes, we do have positive Anunnakis, but the positive Anunnakis, just like the Galactic Alliance, right, are those that are related to the positive ETs. They live according to cosmic and universal principles of non-intervention. So they don't intervene. Okay, they're not like the fallen Anunnaki who, you know, took over the earth, right, created organized religion in order to control humanity. But they're all about guiding us and protecting us. And from what I've come to understand is that the positive Anunnaki, like Zeus and Apollo and the Greek gods, the reason they left the scene was to go fight the war against the AI god. So there was a huge call throughout the multiverse, reaching many guardians throughout the many different realms to work and band together to hold off the AI god until we were ready, to activate our dormant DNA, because we were genetically designed to, when we activate our dormant DNA, to be so powerful that our power is going to exceed any god or any, you know, being, any positive alien. We're going to go beyond we're going to go beyond them in power is what I'm trying to say. So they're holding them off until we are ready to end that battle at the end of the millennium. So yes, there are positive Anunnaki. Let me see. And it is believed, and I've already confirmed, guys, that Jesus he came, or he incarnated Yeshua in the lineage of Zeus. Some people believe that Yeshua was a fractal of Zeus Enlil. When Zeus Enlil is pretty much part of an oversoul that originated in Sirius B, right? The original Anuhasi house of the Elohim, of the guardians. So that's part of an oversoul. So all the incarnations through his lineage are fractals of the original Anuhasi guardian race that comes from Sirius B. I'm just going to take random questions. Yes, there are such things as the Mothmens, of course. You know, there are all kinds of creatures and entities out there that exist. Gargoyles, those are part of the Draco lineages. Um, Not all dragons are evil, only the draconians, right? The red dragon. Most of the dragons in fairy tale stories are actually benevolent. A lot of them are guardians of treasures. The higher cosmic entity dragons are the keepers of the gates of eternity, right? So they are the ones that are preventing the AI god from reaching the realms of eternity. Edward Casarjan, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Mi hermanito, which means my little brother in Spanish, for those who don't know Spanish. Your question is, whatever happened to Michael Jaco? Is he okay? And thank you, my brother. You know, I haven't heard from Michael Jaco, but I do follow him on Instagram, and I know he's still out there doing interviews on his channel. I don't know if his YouTube channel got taken down or if he's on Rumble now, but I do know that every now and then he posts a reminder that he's going to be going live on his channel with, you know, his whatever guest he has. So I do see him on Instagram. He's very active on Instagram. And shout out to Michael Jaco out there. If you know, listen to this live, how you doing, brother? But yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while. I hope he's doing good. I hope he's doing good. Shout out to Michael Jaco and all those Navy SEALs that are working with the Alliance. Shout out to every single one of them. Let's see. Yes, that's true. Airy Dark Star is saying that they left the esoteric. They left the esoteric part out of the Bible. That's right. You know, for those that don't know what the terminology esotericism means, it's esotericism is the mystical knowledge, the hidden knowledge. Some people, you know, refer to it as the occult, and it has nothing to do with evil. It just means hidden, the hidden knowledge, the knowledge that was given to the elites, of course. You know, and then what they did is for the elites, they had a different educational system, while for the you know the large majority of humans, they fed them the religious exoteric interpretation of life, which is very fundamentalist, very superficial, in order to control them. All right, so we do have another super chat from Sylvia Vidal. Hello, Sylvia. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your super chat. You had another dream of a whole bunch of cats in my house. What's that about? Well, I do know that cats come from Lyra, and a lot of the star seeds are actually felines, believe it or not, guys. In your other embodiments, you are a hominid from the neck down and a with a cat face. So it sounds to me, Sylvia, like you are somehow they're trying to reach out to you, right? Your feline family, your Lyran family is trying to reach out to you. So it sounds to me like you are a Lyran starseed. I used to have a lot of dreams with lions and cats as well. That's normal. That's just your ancestors trying to connect with you. That's all that is. I want to welcome all 659 people in the house. Thank you for being here on a Saturday night. I'm just going to read random questions. So I have a good question here from relating to today's subject from Jamie Lavenway. Jamie Lavenway. Jamie's asking, Ishmael, David Wilcock said reincarnation was removed from the Bible. Is that true? Absolutely. Yes. You know, Joshua taught reincarnation, right? The Essenes, the little private group that he was a part of, right? A good secret society that isolated itself from the Roman Empire and the Pharisees and Sadducees that were all controlled by the cabal during those days, they did believe in reincarnation. And then, of course, due to the Council of Nicaea, with the rise of the Catholic Church, they completely eliminated all the books. Guys, there were like over hundreds of books that were not canonized in the Bible. All right, only a small portion, or I say only about 15% of those books were published as the Bible. But there were a large number of volumes of manuscripts that were left behind because it talked about reincarnation, it talked about the Nephilim, it talked about the Anunnaki in greater detail. And one of those books was the Book of Enoch. And by the way, in about a week or two, I'm going to actually be doing a live that focuses solely on the Book of Enoch and why that book and the Apocrypha and many other left out books were a threat and banned by the Catholic Church. There's a reason, right? There's a lot of esoteric information in those lost books. But yeah, that is correct. They totally removed reincarnation from organized religion. You're welcome. Radiant Guardian says, thank you, Ishmael, for everything. It's a pleasure, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. All right. So, guys, I get so busy. I know that you guys have a group chat on Telegram, and I have been unable to join, but it's just because I'm really, really busy these days. It's very hard for me to just be social on social media. There are tons of chat groups that are always including me, especially on Instagram. And it's not that I don't want to talk to you guys. It's just that I don't have time to be on social media and, chatting. I have so much work that I need to get done. I am working on a lot of projects here, a lot of projects here that's going to bring out more information so that we could have this beautiful, great awakening that was prophesied about. But I do appreciate the fact that you guys have your own communities, that means a lot to me. Shout out to the people in Utah who created their own Facebook community called Ismael Perez. I appreciate that. Also for the people in Colorado. Eventually, what I want to do is I want to merge all of you guys together. So that way, the Galactic Jedis from all these different states and other countries could come together on one group chat, whether it be on Facebook, Telegram, or, even here. But eventually I want to bring everything together as one. So that way we could all get to know each other and communicate with one another. When I am not on the live, of course, So I apologize for that. My neighbor's watching football and he's yelling next door. Sorry if you guys heard that. Gina Smith, thank you so much for your super chat. And your question is, hi, Ishmael. Thank you for all that you do. You're so welcome. What can I do to help move into the transition? I think I've already answered that, right? Just try to live a life of service to others to the best of your ability. All right. According to the law of one, the raw material, it is believed that all you have to be is 51% service to others to at least make the 4th-D earth. Now, if you want to go into the 5D or 6D earth, you have to do more than that. You have to do implement some sort of spiritual daily practice and do spiritual work, whether it is clearing your ancestry, which is very recommended in order to reach higher levels of ascension, right? Or whether it is working with planetary energy to help clear most of the density that is holding the earth from ascending. So there are many types of things that you could do to elevate and accelerate your own spiritual evolution. That's right. David Hake says, Ishmael, we all need to work together to save this channel. That's right. I am competing with my other channels, right? The pirated channels. And so one of them has, I think, 50,000 subscribers. And another one has 30,000 subscribers or 40,000 or 40 something. There are so many of them. I think there's a total of 10 now, 10 channels that are competing with me that are called Ishmael Perez Official, Ishmael Perez Interviews, Ishmael Perez, what is it? Cosmic. I am actually competing with them. So, according to YouTube guiding principles or YouTube rules, I don't want to say guiding principles, but according to their rules, the first one to reach 100,000 subscribers gets to keep the channel. So, make sure that you guys help me by sharing my lives, by subscribing, by checking your notifications, so that way you guys are able to go live with me. That really helps my channel grow, the real Ishmael Perez, right? And eventually knock out or eliminate the other pirated channels. Thank you for bringing that up. I can't believe I am competing with these people. I don't know if they're bots. They could be AI. I'm not sure. Or if they are channels that were created by the cabal to prevent people from coming to the real Ishmael Perez channel. Because overall, we did the math based on all the subscriptions that are following these imposter channels. There are over I would have to say about 200 or 250,000 subscribers altogether. Why don't I have those subscribers on this channel, right? That is the question. Well, that's because they're trying to prevent people from accessing my real channel. So, what can I do, guys? What can I do, right? But thank you so much for bringing that up. All right, so this is a question from Patrina Hobbs. Patrina Hobbs is saying, "Thank you for all sharing your knowledge. How long do you meditate daily?" I meditate twice a day, typically in the morning, after either before my workout or after my workout. I do believe that working out every morning is part of my spiritual, even though it's for my physicality, but it's, I do work out with my mind more so than my body. So I meditate twice a day, sometimes before my workout or after my workout. And then I like to meditate before bedtime because that's when I could protect myself, shield myself to make sure that I'm not being attacked in the astral or when I sleep. A lot of the times when we do go into battle with other entities, it's when our body is sleeps and then we go into the astral. And most of us slay demons in the astral, whether you know it or not. A lot of you guys are very active in the astral realm. So it's best to always ground yourself before you go to sleep. So that way you always have the upper hand against these archonic entities. But it's, even if you just meditate once a day, 20, 30 minutes, that's good enough to accelerate your spiritual evolution. All right, so Ricky Lee 1111 is asking, Ishmael, was the Library of Alexandria burned or purpose after it was stripped of so much knowledge? Yes, it was burned. Absolutely. So what happened was the cabal during those days, under the guise of the new organized religion, the Holy Roman Empire, the Vatican, when they were starting off, they decided to burn all the ancient knowledge and keep the records that they needed in order to use to control the masses. So that's why it is believed, and that's why a lot of white hat military soldiers found a lot of these ancient manuscripts when they raided the Vatican 2 years ago. So a lot of those manuscripts were taken from the Library of Alexandria. And when the disclosure takes place, those manuscripts that were recuperated by the Earth Alliance, the White Hats, are going to be shared with the general public. So the Vatican did destroy the library, but of course they kept a lot of that knowledge for themselves. I want to welcome all 667 people that are in the house. Thank you so much for being here. And by the way, guys, I had over 700 people on my Freedom Live last night on my Rumble channel. That was awesome. That was awesome for my first Rumble Live. I didn't realize I was going to reach almost 1,000 viewers during the live. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome. And again, that'll please subscribe to my Rumble channel in case anything goes bad with this channel. Not only am I competing with other pirated channels, but again, a lot of the information that I'm sharing could one day get me, eliminated from this platform. So make sure that you guys subscribe to my Rumble. Because if anything happens to this channel, I'm only going to be going live on my Rumble channel. So, yeah. Let me see. Any more questions? You guys are still seeing orbs behind me? Yeah, I tend to have a lot of orbs behind me. All right, so Leah Ann Otenberg is asking me if I could elaborate on how the Freemasons relate to the Dark Hats. Are they Dark Hats? Nowadays, yes. Nowadays, all secret societies have been penetrated by evil, by the Luciferian agenda. But the original Masons were actually good. They were an extension of the Knights Templars. 400 years ago, before they were infiltrated by the Bavarian Illuminati, by Adam Weishaupt's Bavarian Illuminati. So yes, a lot of these Masons are in the political arena. A lot of them are, huge actors. A lot of them are heads of corporations, Vanguard, BlackRock, so on and so forth. Oops, I forget I'm on YouTube. Anyway, so to answer your question is yes. Nowadays, all of the secret societies, with the exception of the White Hats, who are their own secret society, by the way, with the exception of those that are part of the military operations of the Earth Alliance, are all infiltrated. Okay, so, but don't get me wrong, there are a few Masons that are in the organization working for the White Hats. They are infiltrating the Illuminati themselves. These brotherhoods always infiltrate each other. By the way, this goes back to the Galactic Wars. A lot of the agents of the Orion expanding empire infiltrated the Federation of Worlds. In like manner, a lot of the agents in the Federation of Worlds infiltrated the Draco Orion Empire. So these are tactics that could be traceable back to the original wars between the Lyran refugees and, of course, the Draconians that were trying to impose a galactic empire millions of years ago. Any more questions? So Cosmic Goddess is asking, Ishmael, are cats aliens? I think they are, right? Some of these animals are aliens when you think about it. Some of these aliens don't just come and animate a human avatar. Sometimes they incarnate as a cat. All right, so you guys want to know the story about how modern day negative secret societies became, how they emerged? Okay, so it all started in the 1830s when the cabal or the elites were stealing and mining all the diamonds in Africa under the leadership of the Round Table groups. So the Round Table groups were led by this guy by the name of Cecil Rhodes and John Ruskin, and later 30, 40 years later, the Royal Institute of International Affairs emerged in London. And then in 1916 or 1919, the Council on Foreign Relations emerged. And then we had the Bilderberg Group emerge in the late 1950s. And then after that, we had the Trilateral Commission emerge in the 1970s. And so these were offshots of the original roundtable groups, which were all controlled by the Rothschilds. God, I forget I'm on YouTube. Anyways, the whole point is a lot of these modern day negative secret societies, the Bohemian Grove, Skulls and bones. I shouldn't be saying this, but you know what I'm talking about. They're all different tentacles. The Club of Rome, right? The Knights of Malta, the Knights of Columbus. They're all tentacles of the Round Table groups that were established in the 1830s and 50s by Cecil Rhodes, who stole a lot of the diamonds in Europe. I mean, in Africa, they completely raped Africa from all of the diamonds and you know precious metals that existed in Africa that were inside the African region. They stole all that, and that's how they made their billions. To later reorganized as all these different modern day secret covert organizations, whatever you want to call them. So Sylvia Foster is asking, how many Jedis have read Ishmael's book? That's a good question. That's a very good question. For those that are interested in the new edition with the added chapter, I always put a link in every description. For every video that I post, you could click the link or the purple cover, and it'll take you directly to Amazon. It's only $24.95, guys. It is a wealth of information. It'll prepare you. It'll allow you to really understand the galactic history, where we come from, the different universes. So when disclosure takes place, you guys are going to be light years ahead of the general public when everybody else is barely finding out that we have exotic technology, that aliens are real, that they lived in the underground bases with cabal members, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is beyond disclosure. So make sure you guys order my book. We do have a super chat from Edward Kasarjan. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. And your question is, Ishmael, my brother, people want to know what is your Rumble channel, the real Ishmael Perez. Yes, there's actually a link to my Rumble channel. If you guys go to yesterday's live on YouTube, it just has like random, motions and scenes. And if you guys click on the description on yesterday's live, it'll take you directly into my Rumble channel. So yes, I also call my Rumble channel the real Ishmael Perez, because there are other imposter Rumble channels that are not mine, that are, trying to be me, just like on YouTube. Again, I'm starting to think that the cabal is doing this, in order to prevent people from accessing my real channel. Otherwise, I would have over 200,000 subscribers by now, if that were the case, on my real channel. Yes, please hit the like. Thank you so much for the love, guys. Cosmic Goddess is saying, I read your book, Ishmael. I'm currently listening to the audio. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Cosmic Goddess. As a reminder, guys, I'm going to be at the Conscious Life Expo on Saturday morning, doing my presentation on the cosmic history of the Earth and the war with AI. I'm going to be delivering a pretty clear illustration, a PowerPoint presentation breaking down the cosmic structure, the different levels of reality, dimensions, different types of advanced civilizations. So if you guys attend that, it's going to be mind-blowing, all right? Next level disclosure. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be on the Earth Ascension panel as well, with like people like JJ Hortak. I don't know who else is going to be there, but yeah, I'm excited. All right, about 5 more minutes, guys, and then we're going to go ahead and close tonight's live. So I'm going to answer maybe 2 or 3 more questions as they come. So Kim Shower is asking, Ishmael, when do you think first contact will happen? All right, so basically, I'm just going to lay it down, guys. The extraterrestrials are already living among us. The only reason we don't see them is because they exist on a higher density or frequency reality. So as we elevate our collective reality, which we are, the Earth's Schumann resonance is almost at 13.0 hertz. Once the Earth's Schumann resonance hits 13.0 hertz, the entire collective perception of humanity is going to catapult into the 4th Earth, allowing us to see the extraterrestrials that are already living among us. So I think it's not going to come from the government, all right? Even though there's going to be more whistleblowers in the next few months, beyond David Grush, we're talking about real contactees, real government officials with real documents that are going to be released to the general public. But but as far as like when the actual physical first contact takes place on a large scale where everyone's going to know that the aliens are real, I believe it's going to happen as a result of the solar flash. Because when the solar flash takes place, the veil that separates 4D Earth from the or 5D Earth from the 3D Earth is going to be completely dissolved. And then that's when we're going to see into their reality, which means that they have always been around us. It's just that they are in a higher dimension, coexisting with our dimension. Remember, according to quantum physics, all the dimensions are all coexisting at the same time in the same space. But what separates those realities is the vibrational frequency of each dimension. I have another super chat from Sylvia Vidal. Ishmael, is the audiobook have a robot voice? No. I actually hired a person to do the audio for that. To dictate the book. So it's not a robot voice, at least not on my end. So, Mamiko Agura is asking me, what do I think about the movement of Pluto shift to Aquarius? I know I don't really know much about astrology, but my intuition is telling me that it's actually a good thing. That's going to lead towards some sort of revelation to the masses, as well as a collapse in the current structure, the economy as we know it, right? As we shift to the rainbow currency, the quantum financial system backed by real precious metals. So I feel it's a good thing. I feel it's a good thing. So we do have another super chat from Clementine Cooper. Thank you so much for the super chat. And your question is, what are the best thoughts to think? um, that all depends on what makes you happy. Some people think about their pets. They're in love with their cats and dogs. So whenever they think of their animals, they get really happy. It raises their frequency. Some people do it through music. Whenever they hear a good tune, it raises their vibration. So it all depends on the individual. You know, Gratitude. To me, gratitude. If you practice gratitude and you're mindful of your thoughts throughout the day in terms of just being grateful for just having life, for being healthy, that goes a long way. That really goes a long way. It opens up more blessings in your life. It allows more opportunities and synchronicities to take place in your life when you are living in a state of gratitude and being mindful of things, of course. So it all depends on what you like. But that was a very good question, Clementine. Radiant Guardian says, I think about my watermelon for breakfast. All right, good enough. All right, so I think I'm just going to take one final question, guys, and then I'm going to let you guys go for tonight. And I will see you guys, what, Monday evening at 6 p.m. Monday evening, but I'll take one more question. My Telegram is just under my name. I hope I don't have other channels, other Telegrams that are called Ishmael Perez, but it's just Ishmael. No, actually, I think it's under my old name, Project Restoration Zion, which actually I want to change as well on my Telegram because it's hard for people to find me. But I will get to that. All right, so Sylvia Vidal is asking me how many podcast shows have I done? Well, in 2022, after doing a live, or not a live, but an interview with Nicholas Veniamin, shout out to Nicholas Veniamin, and the Queen of Ravens herself, Janine, Tarot by Janine. I think after those two interviews, which were my biggest interviews ever, and that's really what catapulted me into the public's eye, guys. I want to thank Nicholas Veniamin and Tarot by Janine for giving me the opportunity to go on their platforms, because as soon as I went on their platforms, everybody wanted to interview me. I mean, not everyone, but I was receiving constant emails, calls, and Janine kept sending me messages that this person wants to interview me, that person wants to interview me. And so everybody, that had a podcast wanted to interview me. Not everyone, but most people did. And so I think I did over 100 interviews within a period of about 6 months. So within the period of about 6 months, I must have been on over 100 YouTube channels. And to me, that was a blessing. Even the Galactics told me, Ishmael, when the time is right, people are going to know about your book. And I didn't even know how I was going to do it with only I think back then I only had 20,000 followers on Instagram. Nobody knew about me except for those on Instagram. So I thank God for people like Tara by Janine, and Nicholas Veniamin, who pretty much put me on the spotlight, and all those other people that wanted to interview me. Thank you guys so much for doing so. Tom Numbers, Catherine Edwards, Journey to Truth podcast. I mean, the list goes on. Nina Rodriguez, Underground Patriot, Carrie Cassidy, even though that was brutal, but I still love Carrie Cassidy for the work that she does. Again, unconditional love to everyone. So I am grateful for all of those people that had me on their channel. You guys are the reason why I was able to reach so many people. So that's how it happened for me. So thank you so much. And I also want to thank the Galactic Jedis who are in the house for your continued support. And as we build this community, this relationship with each and every single one of us, it's an honor to be here with all of you every other night when I go live. Thank you so much for being here and for your time, for the super chats and everything that you guys do. For those that have ordered my book, thank you. That is greatly appreciated, and what else? So yeah, I'm just all around grateful for everything that has been happening in my life in the last 2 years as a result of going public, It is an honor, guys, to serve and be here at this time. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to go have some soup, some vegetable chicken soup that is waiting for me. Bon appetit. May the God force be with you all, and I will see you guys Monday night at the same time, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. May the God force be with you all, always.